the last guy I'm going to end with here is Robert Burns, out of Miami Gulliver Prep. And that's the school that, Joe Jackson, the defensive end, went to. Deontay Mullins, the wide receiver, went to. The late, great Sean Taylor went to Gulliver Prep as well. Many other Hurricanes went to that school. And Burns has all the physicality that you want in a running back. He's 5'11", he's 220 pounds, he's chiseled. 3 years ago at a Nike training camp down at the American Heritage School that I attended, Robert Burns had the highest Spark athleticism rating score in the history of Spark rating scores to that point in time, and that was after his freshman year of high school. And that was about as good as it got for him because he's just been injured ever since, basically. He played about half the season his sophomore year, or he played almost a full season his sophomore year. Junior and senior year, he played very sparingly. As a senior, he had 9 carries for 53 yards and 1 kickoff return for 95 yards for a touchdown, but that was it. So you had 10 plays where he generated stats as a senior. And for a guy who was committed to Miami for 2 years and who was, has flashed this elite kind of talent, the injury concerns are really, really, really daunting when it comes to considering Robert Burns. And I think that as far as his body will let him go is as far as he will go as a Hurricane. If he stays healthy, then he has this combination of size and speed that we haven't seen since, maybe, I don't even want to say a Hurricane's great name because then everybody's just going to hop in the comments below and just say, well, you compare Robert Burns to insert player here. But, he's a rare athletic talent with, just his physical bulk, size, and speed. It's not bad weight. It's not like he went to Krispy Kreme or Five Guys and just had a bunch of donuts and hamburgers. He's chunky like I am. Like, this kid is cut, man. So it really just comes down to the fact of if he can stay on the field or not. And, over the course of the last 2 seasons, that was not the case. In spring football, he missed the majority of time because he had a shoulder injury in the spring. There was some back and forth on, is he hurt? Is he not? Is he hurt? Is he not? And he was hurt and he was not out there. And that's confirmed by pretty much every journalist who was there at spring practice. So, immediately right away, you figure, okay, he graduated early, so he got in there for spring. And he rested throughout the majority of his football season as a senior. And other recruiting writers that I know from a lot of different websites, and I would talk to them and, DM them and things like that. And they're like, yo, I drove so far to go see Gulliver Prep played in the Orlando area or the Tampa area. And I live an hour and a half from Tampa. So, this, not me, but this writer that I'm, talking about, then the writer would drive 90 minutes and then be like, yo, Robert Burns is on the sideline in street clothes. What's going on? I don't know. But the kid was injured that much, and you figure, okay, he was injured and missed damn near all of his senior year, and comes into Miami. He should be fresh. He should be, working out, getting healthy, everything. Going to go through spring, going to develop, boom, 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 and then 2 or 3 practices in the spring, bomb, shoulder, done. Wow, that's challenging. And when you consider that Miami is very, very is thinner than paper thin at running back with Mark Walton, Trayon Gray, Travis Homer, and the aforementioned Robert Burns. It's really Walton at 1, Homer at 2, and then we're praying that Gray and Burns stay healthy. So, that's just a big question mark. And, there are snaps to be had as the third running back on this team, when we could use somebody that comes in. And it would be great if it were Robert Burns, and then we could, spin that forward for the next 3 or 4 years of having him here and developing him in the system. But, yeah, that's the biggest question mark. And I think that's the thing that's really standing between me saying he's going to be a contributing player and not, and the health of his body. And we really just need to see that be consistent for him to really get on the field.
Cam, I don't know if this theory holds up medically, but about every generation you hear this, pick your sport, that there's a guy that is just so freakishly athletic that his muscle twitch, his burst, his explosion is almost just too much for his anatomy, and he gets hurt all the time. You hear that about certain guys.
Yeah. And you see it all over the place. You got guys in football. I'm a Detroit Tigers fan, and I remember back in the 90s, Justin Thompson was a left-handed pitcher, and he had one of the best arms that I've ever seen anybody have. It was an amazing arm, but he had shoulder injuries all the time, shoulder and elbow. And he just could never stay healthy. But when he was out there, he's throwing 97 with movement and a curveball and a changeup and locating his pitches and just tap, 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 tap. And then, 6 starts later, boom, elbow tendonitis and then, a torn labrum, and then he's out for 18 months. And yeah, maybe he was just too physically advanced in that one area for the rest of his body, or for the, implementation of that physicality for his sport. And maybe that's Robert Burns. And I hope not, because, I've seen this kid and I saw that spark, that athleticism training or testing he was doing that day years ago at American Heritage. And man, if he could put it all together and keep it together on the field, I mean, I'm not going to say the sky is the limit, but I mean, he could be a very, 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 very good player for Miami. I hope that, maybe he's not that player of this generation in the sport of football where his body just won't let him be great at this sport. But to this point, or in the recent history of his career, that's been the case. So hopefully he's able to turn it around now.